Hi, my name's Elaine Harrison-Neukirch, and I'm excited to be here today for Day of Security. My talk is titled Fun with MITRE ATT&CK Navigator and NIST SP 800-53. For anyone who's worked with NIST SP 800-53, you probably don't associate the word fun with that. I'm hoping that by the end of this talk, the tools I show you will at least add a little something to your day when you're working with NIST. I lead the customer support program at an amazing startup company known as Scythe. I've always been a blue teamer. I've worked as a network security engineer and analyst in the healthcare sector, and I have worked in finance as a network administrator and security trainer. I volunteer for cybersecurity nonprofit. I've been there for about 2 years, and I'm currently the education director. And I'm the mom of 3 awesome young women and a bearded dragon named Taco, who likes to make appearances with me. So today I am going to talk about how I stumbled upon these tools, what MITRE ATT&CK Navigator and NIST SP 800-53 are, and how the blue team or defenders can use these tools to their advantage. I'm hoping this is not another boring slideshow. I do plan to do a demo. I have made my sacrifice to the demo gods, and they assure me that nothing will go wrong. Back about a year ago, when I first started working for Scythe, I was tasked with becoming familiar with the software. And as I was reviewing the reporting capabilities, I noticed that there was a NIST SP 800-53 summary available for download as a JSON file to be used with ATT&CK Navigator. At that time, I didn't know what a JSON file was, nor did I know what ATT&CK Navigator was. So I did some research. And as I researched, it led me to ATT&CK Navigator, and then I tested the site summaries in Navigator. I thought it was really cool that these could be customized and that it gave me a better visualization of how a particular group might attack. And I wrote a 2-part blog for Cybersecurity Nonprofit, which turned into this talk. MITRE ATT&CK is a free open source collaboration. Red and blue teams from around the world collect CTI, cyber threat intelligence, and submit to MITRE. MITRE ATT&CK framework is a knowledge base containing adversary groups, their tactics, techniques, and software that they're known to use. And there's 3 matrices that focus on enterprise, mobile devices, and ICS, or industrial control systems. This is the MITRE ATT&CK homepage. As you can see, there's a lot of information just on the first page. These are the different tactics and techniques that are used, and you can drill down through there. You're also able to make your selections from the drop-down list here at the top. There is also a free training under resources. So if you're not familiar with MITRE ATT&CK framework, I would suggest taking the training to become more familiar with it. There's a lot of videos on YouTube as well. So just to show you, I'm going to select groups, and then we can just pick a random group from here. We'll pick Evil Num. So on this page, we have a little description about Evil Num. It seems like there's not a whole lot known about them. We're able to see the different techniques that are used and the software that they're known to use. And then at the bottom, there are references. So as you can see, you can drill down into these. So we have the abuse elevation control mechanism, which is T1548. And then down below, we have different mitigations and detections that are used for this particular technique. My coworker and unicorn, Natalie Cato, wrote an amazing blog known as titled Simplifying the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. In this blog, she breaks down the different components of the framework and then talks about how to use it. This can be found on Scythe's site.io on our Unicorn library, which is where all of our blogs are stored. If you're new to MITRE ATT&CK framework, I really would suggest reading this. Excuse me. So MITRE ATT&CK framework can be used to gather CTI or cyber threat intelligence. Different sectors can research adversary groups that are most likely to attack them. For example, being in healthcare, I would want to know more about the different groups that might attack us with ransomware. And it also gives you a better way to visualize how the attacker would gain entry using their different techniques, tactics, and software. Natalie said in her blog, the more moves we can predict, the more chances we have to win, which is true. The more information we can gather and the more we know about our attacker, the better chance we have of either stopping the attack or at least minimizing damage done by an attack. Attack Navigator was created by MITRE ATT&CK. This is a GitHub project that is free for everyone. There's a web-based version, which I'm going to show you. And then you're also able to download components from the GitHub project to build your own Attack Navigator on a server if that's something that you wanted to do. Attack Navigator enables users to manipulate the different MITRE ATT&CK matrices in a more visual format, and it is customizable. They recently released version 11. We will be using version 10 because that is what the NIST mappings are set up for. This is what the Attack Navigator homepage looks like. It's pretty basic. You can create a new layer. You can upload a layer, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload from local. You can layer upon layer as well. It can get pretty complex. It just depends on what your goal is and how much time you have to spend on it. Excuse me. NIST Special Publication 800-53, Security and Privacy Controls for Information Systems and Organizations. I dare you to say that 10 times fast. This document is about 490 pages of very dry content. It's really detailed. This was originally created as a guide for federal and critical infrastructure information systems and is now used by many other sectors. We use it very heavily in healthcare. The current version is 5. This document describes families of security controls, and each family contains multiple security controls. The NIST Revision 5 website has a lot of information on it and resources that you can use. And then you can also download the document. If you're an insomniac, I suggest downloading this and reading it before bed because you will be asleep before you hit the 3rd page. In December of 2020, the Center for Threat Informed Defense released the first set of mappings between MITRE ATT&CK and NIST SP 800-53. Their goal was to enable users to easily map threats specific to their organization to NIST controls. So as I said before, I really wish I had had this tool. It would have saved us a lot of time doing our risk assessments. Again, the goal is to contribute to more effective security and closing gaps. This tool speeds up determining what mitigation controls need to be put in place. And that in turn will help to speed up the closing of the gaps. The Center for Threat Informed Defense released an updated set of mappings in 2022 to be used with Attack Navigator version 10. So let's talk about Attack Navigator and NIST using them together. So the attack controls framework mappings README file contains a lot of information. These are the NIST mappings. So there's a security control framework mappings to attack. There are a lot of different items you can download depending on the version you're going to use. So for attack version 10, we have all of the mappings available in a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet, again, is another useful tool, in my opinion. Just one second, and I will get it up here for you to see. So you can see it contains the NIST control ID, the NIST control name, the mapping type, the MITRE ATT&CK technique ID, and then the technique name. So you're able to obviously filter by controls or by techniques. It just depends on what you want to do, but this is great for just a quick mapping reference. As I said before, there is a lot of information in the README file. I would suggest reviewing the information in the README first. It contains the frameworks, mapping methodology, tooling, use cases, which is something we're going to use today, sticks format, and then the visualizations, contributing, and the changelog. You're going to probably want to set aside a couple hours to review all of this information. And then you do want to export this NIST SP 800-53 mappings document that I just showed you. Again, it's great for quick lookup when you're reviewing your attack navigator layer. So for my demo, I'm going to use case number 4. And that use case is I want to determine what NIST 800-53 B5 controls can be used to build a strong defense against a given group or software. So I want to look up, in this case, I'm going to look up a group. And when I look up the group in Attack Navigator, it's going to show me all of the techniques used by that group that map to the NIST controls. So for my first step, I'm going to download and open the NIST 800-53 R5 overview layer. I've actually already downloaded it. And you will see that each family contains multiple overviews and mapping layers, which let me show you that right now. If we go back to layers, you can see here, each one of these families, the CA overview, CM overview, each one contains a group of mappings. But we're doing just the main overview just to save some time. So for step 2, I will customize the layer for the threat group, which means I'm going to go to the selection control, and I'm going to choose the threat group that I want to look at. And then there's a couple of filters we're going to change, as well as the background color. So you'll see when I select the group, it's going to show the tactics that the group uses, but it's just outlined in black and it's really hard to visualize and see. So I'm going to change that color so we can see the techniques better. And then we're also going to drill down and just select Windows for this particular demo. So for use case number 4, I'm going to select the threat group Chimera. I'm going to use the background color of purple because I am now a purple teamer and usually my hair is purple, and we'll filter to Windows. So you'll be able to see in the demo that the purple techniques are the ones that are used by Chimera when attacking Windows devices. And then when we hover over each technique, we're going to see the MITRE ATT&CK ID, the score, which is the number of controls that mitigate this particular technique, and then the actual control ID numbers. So it's time for the demo. This is the part where we hope the demo gods are working and paying attention. All right, so I'm on the MITRE ATT&CK Navigator page, and I'm going to open an existing layer, which is going to be right here. I'm just going to click OK because these mappings are behind a version. And I'm going to open it in ATT&CK version 10. So I don't want to upgrade. It does take a little bit to load at times. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the selection controls, click that. And then I want to select the threat group. There's no particular reason why I choose Chimera, except it does have a lot of techniques associated with it. So I'm going to select this. And you can't really tell, but this is outlined in like a dark blue, each technique. So obviously we need to change that so we can visualize it better. So we're going to go here to the, we're going to go here to the background color. And I'm going to pick purple. And now you can see it's a lot easier to view. And lastly, we want to drill down to select just Windows. So I need to deselect all of these. Like I said, there is a little bit of a lag. It's probably because I'm recording with Zoom as well. All right, well, anyway. Looks like we froze a little. Maybe the demo gods aren't as happy with me as they used to be. So I will just keep going. So these purple techniques, the purple highlighted techniques, are the ones that Chimera is known to use. Okay, it looks like it caught up now. So these are techniques used by Chimera on Windows devices. And if we hover over them, we see, for example, two-factor authentication interception, which is IDT 1111, has a score of 7. And there are 7 NIST controls that can mitigate this particular technique. The items that are in blue do not have any NIST controls tied to them. Actually, I lied. The items in blue have NIST controls tied to them, but Chimera does not use these tactics. How about that? So you can see, you can still get some information around this as well if that's what you're interested in. And then you can go through and do other customizations if you wanted to as well. Now you have to remember that you can't just save this. If you're working on it and you want to change some stuff, you can't just save it. You need to actually download the JSON file. And then you would have to upload it again. Sorry, this is the download button. You have to upload again if you want to keep working on it. So you just need to remember to always download your file when you're done working. You can also export this to Excel if you wanted to show it to someone who maybe isn't as technical and just give them a good visualization. You can see that you're able to export it and share. And then there's still notes if you want to mouse over. This could also be used, say you create your visualization. You want to work with your team on it and determine what mitigations you need to put in place to close the gaps. You could use this to mouse over and see what controls mitigate the technique, and then also compare it, use the other spreadsheet for a quick lookup to help you with more details about what the controls are. So that didn't go too badly. I've certainly had worse demos. How can blue teamers use this tool? So again, as I've said a few times, it is useful. It's free. It's useful to see what NIST techniques map to what NIST controls map to which MITRE techniques. I feel like if you're working in a sector where you don't have a big budget, this is something that could be used in the interim. You can use the scores, right? If you're looking to prioritize the higher risk gaps, you could list out the gaps by score. And also this helps you to identify the gaps in the tools that might be needed for mitigation. For example, maybe there is no NIST control tied to a technique. Then you're going to have to figure out, can you tweak alerting or detection or add some blocks. As you remove gaps by adding in controls and mitigations, you're able to update the layer to show your progress. Again, just remember you need to download that layer when you're done to use when you want to update it again, because you can't save it online. And it can also show overlaps in the IT security controls. So again, why would you use this over other tools? It's free. It's well known. MITRE ATT&CK framework is well known and associated with best practices throughout cybersecurity industry. The technical information can be reported to non-technical people. Like I showed you the spreadsheet you could download, as well as you're able to download the visualization if you needed to share that out. It does show the gaps in your IT security controls and can be used to justify budget for new IT security controls and projects. So I said I did write a couple of blogs. They do have the step-by-step for using Attack Navigator with the NIST control mappings. So if you're interested in trying it out, the links are available in my slides. And I wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to watch my talk today. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that this is something you could take back and use in your job as a defender. So yeah, get out there and practice using Attack Navigator. And if anyone has any questions, I'm completely available. Thanks again. Have a great day.